they have to rely on Morgana, and okay, well, they get something really fortunate here, but if this doesn't happen, they just do a 155 invade, so that, like, Jarvan and all them are already committed to the buff. Do you know what I mean? So even if, like, the invade goes poorly, they've already done, like, jungler disruption and also bot lane disruption, because they can just zone out the, you can zone out bot lane just by going into this brush. You know what I mean? Or, like, you can just cut off this brush, because you fall back here, you drop a ward into the brush, bot lane's scared, they have to go all the way around. And then if you're a bot lane player, like your AD carry or support, you get stuck into the roll or something like that, you just get back down to this lane and you hyper shove to level 2. Okay? And now let's say that, like, hypothetically, your AD carry benefits from a level 2, like really strong, like Lucian or something, right? Or like Graves, okay? And the enemy, you know, the enemy bot lane, okay, is probably going to arrive within like 10 seconds after you getting there or something. As a support player, okay, you could delay yourself going into the lane, all right, to make it so that your AD carry only needs 7 minions to get level 2. Do you know what I mean? So the support, you know, like, you take a minor disadvantage, right? You get into the lane, your AD carry gets level 2. And then if he's like a super powerful, like, level jump AD carry, like I said, Lucian, Graves, Ezreal to a degree, you know what I mean? It can be beneficial. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so those are like AD carry and like support dynamics. So like now, like with everything going on in slow-mo, okay? So Jarvan comes up here, Ryze, you know, intelligently does the juke. Now look at all the damage that Akali's taking. I like to say that 4 minions equals a spell, right? So she was actually taking almost 2 spells at once from Ryze. And then Ryze elects to stand still and go for a kill. We're gonna rewind this really quick. Like, just so I can, like, be really nitty-gritty on this. But, like, okay, so you see this? Like, when Akali circumvents, like, or she neglects to hit this, like, this 3CS, this is also bad by Ryze. See, like, how Ryze, like, he's not trying to push the lane or do anything to, like, get to level 2? In a matchup where the level 2, like, monstrously favors you, sometimes there's going to be matchups where the level 2 just, like, slight favors you, sometimes there's going to be a matchup where it doesn't favor you. But in a matchup where it heavily favors you, so like Ryze against Akali, Ryze against Tryndamere, Ryze against, you know, Katarina, Ryze against anything like that. What's all that noise? Holy shit.
Fucking
Everyone hear
Doritos
that?
bag.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll mute my mic.
Okay. Alright. So, you know, like, with that being said, and it doesn't only apply to Ryze mechanics, it applies to any matchup where a level 2 gives you a hyper edge. Now, in this instance that Akali just completely ignores everything, he shouldn't even launch this auto attack. Like, it should be so obvious that Jarvan's here. Do you know what I mean? And then why flash here? Why not flash downwards? Because Akali's already taking spell damage when you factor in the minions, right? Because, you know, he had 6 minions plus 3 backline, right? So he had 9 minions attacking Akali. He's essentially getting Qs off, you know what I mean, without doing anything. And now Jarvan's on cooldown, Akali was on cooldown, and Akali still didn't flash. Had he kept walking, do you know what I mean? It might have been possible for, like, something else to have occurred, but it doesn't really, you know, make too much of a difference. Now, if you're in Jarvan's situation, you're in Akali's situation, okay? And you get the level 2. Alright, so we're gonna break down every little fucking, you know, micro thing, and we'll jump around a lot, of course. Okay? Now, unfortunately, I can't fucking pause, so let me just rewind so that I can talk about this. But when this happens, so Akali's thought process, okay, should be that as soon as this kill goes down, you go into the bush, you break the aggro, right? And then if Akali asks to recall, okay, now she has a potion start with double rejuve bead, so it's not like she wants to stay in lane, but at the same time, you have to, you know, you have to ask yourself, like, what does a recall give you right now, okay? And right now, a recall doesn't really give her too much in terms of, like, anything, right? So with that being said, Jarvan and Akali should just hyper shove the lane so that Ryze loses all these minions or he's forced to teleport. Do you know what I mean? As soon as he's up. And then Akali can recall off that and she'll have, you know, a little bit more gold and then the line gets reset, which is like the best case scenario. And then when Jarvan shows up at top, okay, it gives bot lane free reign, right? Obviously. And then Talon also has free reign for approximately like, I would say a minute and 10 seconds or so, right? Because Jarvan, when he does a path like this, okay, red to top, okay, and then we saw him go back into here or something, they don't know where Warwick is. You know what I mean? And Jarvan can't take a risk and just run down into blue and try to get blue. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's illogical. So Jarvan has to go up to golems. And if he goes to golems, then his path from level 2, right, is to do the gank here, go over here, kill golems, right? That takes about 15 seconds, plus you factor in, like, the 10 seconds or, like, 12 seconds to get there, walking time. Depending on if he uses EQ or not to like close a distance onto them or whatever. And then he has to walk down to Wraiths, and you have to time this all in your head. It doesn't matter if you're the jungler, it doesn't matter if you're a fucking laner. You just, you know, you have to keep mental tabs on where Jarvan could be in correlation to his last or previous gank. Right? So when you do this and then he kills Wraiths, like that's the timing window that Talon has over Lux to do whatever he wants to try to do. You know what I mean? In terms of like free dominance or something. Warwick recognized that Jarvan went up to top lane, and then Warwick also knew that it might be a little bit illogical for Jarvan to come straight down to blue because he simply just can't know. And with Ryze's teleport being up and the death timer being as short as it is, if Ryze teleports up here and Talon collapses, Jarvan, you know what I mean? It might just be like a wasted amount of effort. And then if Jarvan goes there and basically shows that he doesn't have any control over blue, it gives Talon and Warwick in bot lane ability to collapse on his blue. So Jarvan could fuck himself if he does try to make this coin flip, you know, going into this. And then, okay, so he goes for a really, really big coin flip, right? So he goes from top to mid. So normally if Talon was playing this like more aggressively or something like this could kind of go bad. But if it doesn't go bad, Jarvan is insurmountably far behind. So this is like one of the biggest coin flip. This is like the level 2 red gank buffs is like Twitch or something, right? Or like a jungler that's very prone to counter ganks or counter invades or like anything like that. And when this happens, right, and Jarvan, you know, he sees the blue buff on Warwick, and now you don't know if he clicked on Warwick and saw the blue buff timer. Do you know what I mean? Because then that might actually give off some information that Warwick hasn't taken his own blue. He might have taken Jarvan's blue, right? So Jarvan can't know. So if you're Jarvan, you want to click on Warwick, and then you want to look at the buff timer, the avatar. And then when this happens and Jarvan goes back into the fog of war here, he's level 2, he has to do something, right? So his path probably, you assume, is going to be Wraiths, and then probably go and check on his non-existent blue. Okay? And then all in the meanwhile, you know, down in bot lane, like Caitlyn and Morgana, they've had basically free reign the entire time. So these are just all the little micro dynamics that can be read by every single individual laner without even having to look at lanes. All you actually needed for this was to maybe do an F key at Ryze, okay? To like see like if Jarvan flashes or like what happens exactly in top lane. And then all that you need for the other information is the minimap. And all of this is like gainable. Do you know what I mean? For every single individual player. So anyways, we move forward. If you guys have like any, yeah, go ahead. I can't pause, but if you can.
I just said I.
Oh, I thought you said I. Okay, sorry.
No.
Okay. So now also like when you go into Jarvan's perspective, right? So if I slow down, whatever. So he has to do Wraiths, and he has to clear Wolf, and then he has to go over and clear Blue or whatever. With that being known by both the blue team, right, it opens Akali up to technically a lot of pressure if she's not doing anything right or if she's not warding properly or something, right? Because Warwick would have potency in top lane. Because you would know that Jarvan's on the right side of the map, and so Warwick knowing that Jarvan must be on the right side of the map, he can't go back to the left side of the map because it doesn't make any sense. It opens up, you know, room and window for counter ganking in that sense. And then also, with that being known, Ryze can just safely freeze at the tower, and know that nothing's really going to happen to him. And then also he could light freeze, and what I call like a light freeze is like freezing it like here. You guys will see it on the screen relatively soon.
Maybe a small delay.
Yeah.
So yeah. Ooh, who just dropped from the call?
I don't know.
Okay. Fuck. Well, it's being recorded, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the gym guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It says busy.
Busy.
Yeah, he dropped before as well.
Alright, hopefully he'll rejoin the call. If not, we can just send him the VOD clip, but the disadvantage would be that he doesn't get to ask questions technically. Okay, he's back. Okay. Okay. So that's for binding. It's also very hard because like I'm just trying to educate you guys on macro mechanics that can be gained. You know what I mean, for all players, because no one individually is. We're not focusing on Rise, like what could Rise do. You know what I mean? The overall growth of the gameplay and macro and rotational play. So the jungler will be under heavy focus because that's one of the most important things that globally. You don't need, you know what I mean, to have communication with your team to think about, but it's something that can be used for both your team and the enemy team. Okay. So like right now, right, with like how the game timer is, okay, so I'm gonna slow down really quick. And where do you think Jarvan is? Okay, so we're at 450, okay? So where's Jarvan? Like just in consideration to how all the lanes went and how everything, you know what I mean? Like just give me like your opinion on like a potential like radius for him to be in.
Would he probably be around white somewhere with the intention to head bots, seeing as how pushed the blue team is?
I actually have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either.
No, yeah, right. But, okay, so like
I think he's heading
if he
towards
went-
bot.
Because he wouldn't have headed
I think he
back up
went
into his red
golem
jungle,
when he
would
came back before. I think he went golem when he came, like after his last recall, then came downwards, and then maybe around wolves or white now.
okay. Is everyone of the opinion that he's on the right side of the map?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, no. Well, you should have to think that he's on the right side of the map because it doesn't make sense for him to be anywhere else. Lux just recalled, and you know what I mean? Rise pushed the lane and then recalled. There was absolutely no purpose for him to be on the left side of the map. There was no objectives to be claimed. There was nothing to be done. You know what I mean? He had to clear out his blue buff. He took wraiths approximately a minute and a half ago, right? So while yes, they would be respawning, he probably wouldn't have just recalled after wraiths. He probably would have gone to wolves and then maybe cleared out his blue and maybe ate white. By the time he recalls, gets his items, heals up, and then gets back to moving towards one of the lanes, the right side of the map is also healed back up again. And then when you factor in like how the lanes are going, he must be on like the right side of the map somewhere. So we go back to 449, where we were talking about that. What the hell's all mode? And he's at white. So even if he doesn't kill white, if he recalls instead of killing white after wolves or something, he's approximately within the same area. So either he's there currently, you know what I mean, like finishing up a clear, or he's there with a recall, but he's not like, you know what I mean, he's not level 4. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all you have to be considering. And then as bot lane, you know what I mean? Oh, there's the mic again.
No.
That's alright.
Okay. And then as bot lane, like, you just have to be aware of that. And now, okay, now look, a minute's passed, right? So if Jarvan, no matter what, almost in all circumstances at 449 was somewhere on the right side of the map, where will he be a minute from then? He'll either be at Warwick's Wraiths, or he will be on the left side of the map. Right? So that's something like, if you're Talon, you have to be aware of. Right? But Talon's irrelevant. Jarvan is technically irrelevant. It's just jungler and mid laner. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, if it's a very unique jungler or something like Shaco or, like, what's another unique jungler? Yi or, you know, Tryndamere, like weird junglers and stuff. Obviously, they have their own actual, like, rules and stuff that go for them and then also against them. But in standardized situations, these thought processes are always going to be the same. Do you know what I mean? Does that make
Yeah.
everyone? Okay. Alright, so, like, speed up. And if anyone has, like, questions, just, like, ask. Like, with how the game's going and stuff. Akali, like, okay, so Akali, I kind of disagree with Akali, because she's purple side. So like, here, I'll try to address itemizations really quick. So Talon, obviously, he's just Talon. He has one fucking build. You know what I mean? You can't mess up Talon's build. So Talon, it can't really comment on his itemizations. Now Jarvan notices that he kind of got a very small lead, but I wouldn't even consider it a lead considering his blue buff got stolen, right? And he just got first blood assistance, and first blood isn't worth as much, right? So him rushing mobility boots is pretty arrogant, and I would even actually consider that it's not correct, just because it doesn't make any sense. Like, there's not going to be any 2v2 dynamic, there's not going to be any sort of 3v3 dynamic until he would already have, like, Spirit Stone, or he would have his jungler item almost complete, right? Because of the time that Warwick needs to farm up, get his level 6, and then begin, like, doing stuff. So because of that, the mobility boots, they only offer assistance if your laners have very good 2v2 dynamics. Akali doesn't have a very good 2v1 dynamic, I'm sorry. Akali doesn't have a very good 2v1 dynamic, right? Because she needs her level 6 to close the gap on Ryze. And then Ryze has Denial with the W. You know what I mean? They have the Alistar and the Lucian on purple side. Like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? They're constantly going to be shoved in. Morgana can deny, you know, the knockup and stuff, and, like, it doesn't add up. And then Talon, like, Lux has to land her binding, or you have to land your EQ. Like, going for such a pressurized build against lanes that don't support it doesn't make any sense. Does that, like...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if he got, like, a bigger lead, okay, so say he got, like, a kill and 2 assists and he didn't get counter jungled, okay, and he has a Spirit Stone with that MOBA boots, it's not as gambly as just going MOBA boots. So the build's kind of weak. And now if we attack Akali's build, okay, she's purple side Akali, which means innately she's going to be shoveling, but also Ryze has the opportunity to freeze the lane in front of his tower, which is one of the fortunate things about blue side Ryze if he falls behind. One of the other fortunate things about blue side Ryze is that he's extremely powerful in the 2v1 dynamic on blue side, whereas he's not as powerful in the 2v1 dynamic on purple side. And that's just due to, like, how the fucking geography of, like, the lane and shit. But anyways, so Akali is going for Hextech Revolver first, which means that, yeah, her AP ratios and her sustain will be good, but it doesn't benefit her at all. She can't really make use of it because she's going to be shoving no matter what, because Ryze is going to let her shove, so she doesn't need any sort of a sustain. And then because of how far she's going to be shoving in constantly, she's always going to have minion waves to fall back on, and she doesn't need any sort of, like, sustain or special, like, abilities to get away from Ryze, because he's never going to be chasing her. So she should be a little bit more greedy with her build. Now, you could argue that, yes, Akali always goes Hextech Gunblade first, right? Like, that would, you know, that would just kind of make sense. But if she's ever going to get an opportunity to duel Ryze, like, straight up or something, right, it would probably be within melee range, okay? So this is actually one of those, like, nitty-gritty answers, and I'm not, like, the Akali versus Ryze matchup is actually something that I've talked about at great lengths with Akali players, because I used to play Akali. Where if you are a purple side, it can be advantageous to go Bilgewater before going for Ability Tome, for a lot of reasons. Reasons that you could go Ability Tome, however, like, is if you are, like, having a really big advantage over him, which she's not, right? Now, say, what I mean by big advantage is, like, 2-to-1 CS score, right? And that she's constantly shoving him under tower. Maybe she had a freeze for 2 minutes in front of her tower, and Ryze couldn't really do anything about it because she had, like, a 2-level advantage or something. Yeah, then you can go, you know, Ability Tome, and Hextech Revolver, because the sustain that it will grant you with the Qs and stuff, like, you can just endlessly throw Qs at Ryze and stuff from a safe distance and stuff, and trade, you know, his QW-Q combo, etc. It would be beneficial. But here, like, you're already kind of seeing that, like, it doesn't even matter if she has the sustain coming from those, the Qs and whatever from the ability tomes, because Ryze just kind of chunks her anyway. So she needs a bigger advantage, or she needs some sort of durability before she can go into this item against him. And it's just how the lane dynamic works. And similar things occur in all, you know, matchups. It's not just this one isolated incident. And then, like, he's playing this terrible. I think he's gonna die, though.
Yeah.
Okay. He's gonna die. Yeah. Oh, mother of heaven. Oh.
No.
He had a Q. Oh my god. All right, he played that terrible. So that wasn't Akali making a good choice or anything. It was just Ryze Ryze misplayed. So there's nothing really else to talk about there. In the same sense, it looks like Talon and Lux, they traded. Talon's going to go back, obviously, probably going to get Brutalizer. And then one thing that he could do against Lux, specifically also because Akali exists, and they also have some other AP ways to pop it, is he could go Hex Drinker, right? Barring he doesn't get some sort of a lead. And the reason that you would go Hex Drinker is because of objective contestants. When you get higher and you get better in elos and stuff, you don't actually need, like, ridiculous, retarded damage outputs, right? And what I mean by that is, so I'll try to slow this down as slow as possible. Okay, if you were, and you're playing in Bronze 1 or Silver 5, right? You are going to destroy the enemy laner regardless of how you play, right? So you can recall on a fucking Teemo and go Death Cap first item, you know what I mean? Even though it's not, like, normal. And that'll just make your E's, you know what I mean, speak for themselves. Your Q, it doesn't take any effort, you know what I mean? And you can just go, like, retarded amounts of damage output, even though it makes completely no sense. You could go sort of the occult even, you know what I mean, at that LO. And what I mean by that, in relation to what I'm talking about with Talon and the Hex Drinker, is that in proper play, if you can become comfortable, and I've spoken about this before, if you can become comfortable with dealing less damage but having tankier stats and learning how to manipulate your damage better throughout extended trades and fights, you'll grow as a player. And the Hex Drinker, it doesn't just come with the magic resist, which helps against the periodic damage, which Akali does, and the periodic damage that Alistar can deal because technically he is dealing AP or whatever. Lux deals burst damage, which the Hex Drinker's passive obviously comes into play there, but it's also 250 HP. So you're getting you're getting like a double ruby crystal out of the item. You know what I mean? Against 3 of their champions, and then they also have other numerous ways to pop it. Not that they'll continue to deal damage into it, but the point still remains. So yeah. And that's just because of how the game's going. Like, his team's falling behind. He can't just go absolute raw damage and try to, like, make plays and, like, whatever. Like, Dragon contestants are obviously going to be extremely important. And then also roaming is going to be extremely important. And if he roams into, top lane or something like that, the dynamic of the Hex Drinker is extremely important, for his 2v2 or something. And if he roams bottom, the Hex Drinker doesn't, like, do too much, but it also doesn't really totally make sense for him to roam bottom. Ugh.
Oh,
What?
freaking.
Yeah. And now, right now, like, when Akali, like, when Ryze gets the kill, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go really slow. Let me rewind. So Ryze teleports in, and he assists with getting a kill, right? What's the play if Akali doesn't show up in top lane?
Hmm. Cool. I don't know.
Well, fucking speak amongst yourselves, like.
I don't know what to
What,
fucking
you know what I
say.
mean?
If she doesn't shove, wouldn't you want to ward to prepare for dragon if you get a kill?
Well, you get a kill on their AD carry.
Yes, because they would only have their Lux. So it'd be 4v5, so you set up for dragon possibly. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or you would
Why not just take Drake? Akali doesn't. Akali stopped pushing in top lane. You take a quick peek, right? You take a quick peek at top lane. You see the tower's HP, right? They don't have a siege minion pushing. So even if Akali's here, it's not going to last too long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then with that also being said, Lux was staying in middle. You guys had so much HP across everything. The call for Dragon only makes sense, especially because bottom lane gets reset. And if you go over to Dragon and Talon's in middle, right? Talon can zone Lux into this area right here. You'll see it in a second.
Yeah.
And then if he zones Lux into this area right there, it lines up Morgana's retardedly big hitbox, which, by the way, it presents itself as a fucking motorcycle, but it comes like a fucking truck. And, like, it doesn't, so...
Yeah.
Jesus
Could
Christ.
Caitlyn also be pushing the lane to tower to, like, deny the Lucian as much CS as possible, seeing as he's not there?
The Lucian? You mean the what?
The Caitlyn. Could the Caitlyn be pushing the minions into the tower?
No, she has to go to Drake because it's such an early Drake. It's an 8-minute Drake. You need all the, you know what I mean. You need all the family members. For
Right.
it. It's
It
basically
needs
like
to
that.
be a party.
Yeah, it needs to be
Yeah.
like that Lizzie McGuire movie. Fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god, is it bad that I watched that recently?
But I mean, if Talon's fighting Lux mid and Ali's like in lane there, is there really gonna be any problem with 3 of them doing it? If Caitlyn's pushing the lane, because it's just gonna deny Lucian more farm.
Well, okay, but all right, it would deny Lucian farm. You're right, but if Talon doesn't come to Drake, and Talon has to stay mid for the reasons that I mentioned about Lux. Right, so then you only have 3 people doing Drake, and that isn't. You don't even actually have 3 people doing Drake. You have like 2.5. You know what I mean? Because like more, it doesn't.
Yeah.
The damage doesn't actually count. And here is solo Q 101, where Rise
What is
decide-
doing?
Get
Oh
that
my
last.
god. He flashed to do
Oh.
it, so that's just
Nice.
Oh,
Correct.
bye bye.
Ooh.
He
Oh wait,
He
don't underestimate this. Oh no.
Hold on.
Well,
I-
they were only 5-0 in the Drake Cup, so clearly he needed to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like no risk, no gain.
And you know why he died? It's all because of Talon. If he didn't get these sick trolls, you know what I mean? Like, said every bronze player ever.
Yeah.
Fuck. Let me take you through the mind of Rise right now. Wow, fucking Talon AFK farming, and then he's like fucking yelling at Warwick, who's at like base. He's like, oh god, oh man.
2 bronze for me.
But like, if they had done the 3-man Drake,
Mhm.
then they would probably have needed to recall 1 more. Then Jarvan, could he have taken Warwick's blue? Since it's probably coming up soon.
Well, Jarvan would have to have a timer on it, and he doesn't have a timer on it. So to make plays
Right.
like that without actually knowing when Warwick elected to take his blue is a little bit unsafe. You don't want to make, you know what I mean? You don't want to be making assumptions, because assumptions can get you
Right.
fucked. It can fuck up your jungle pattern and stuff.
Yeah.
You can make assumptions based on loose information, or like circumstantial information.
Yeah, but like when he saw earlier, he saw Warwick near his own blue, where like you said he could have checked the timer. So if he knew Warwick had taken his blue,
Mhm.
so you could see that he was going towards his own blue, so he would have an approximate time of it.
I think he would have got the timer because when they went to get the Wraith on the like top lane side of blue, that he smited that and then he walked towards blue and up, and Akali joined him.
Right.
He also could have roughly guessed based on when he found out that his blue was gone, and he saw Warwick near his own
Yeah.
blue, and he went to counter game.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So you'd have the timer.
Roughly.
Roughly.
Not a hard timer, but yeah, but like he knew when Warwick was near.
Yeah.
That's assuming he thought all that stuff. He might not have even considered it.
Yeah.
No, I know, but the point is to think about, this stuff.
Yeah.
Why did Talon stay in mid before?
At Dragon?
When the Lux went back, I think he should have just gone back.
I think because he was getting greedy, and I completely agree with you that he should have already been recalled. That's why we were kind of making fun of it. He should have already been recalled when Lux was backing, and then Rise decided that he would try to be a hero.
Yeah. Wait, wasn't this supposed to be a Orianna game?
You know what? That's actually so funny. I kid you not, though. I loaded the replay off that Orianna, and this is what I got.
Oh. That's probably
It's
why
alright.
I'm not gay
Maybe
yet.
they don't know what Oriana looks like.
Maybe this is actually a bronze game.
This is actually bronze. No, because it's the Morgana that you guys linked me.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she had a ton of Morgana games, then
Yeah.
two
Oh,
or three other games.
It's probably a support main, so you know what I mean? Like, it's okay.
No, she had more games on Annie, and she had mid laners played most. Ari, Annie, and
okay.
Orion.
I kid you not, though. I clicked the Ori game, and this is what I was given. Now, what is very great to note is you look at the CS scores, and you wonder how.
Caitlyn losing though.
That's sad.
It's really sad. Yeah, exactly. So like this is another, like example about like how CS is making like a world of difference. Like yes, Purple's up 6 kills, but they're also down a Drake, but they're all they're significantly ahead in terms of CS. So that Drake, you know what I mean? It's like it's not making.
I think like Caitlyn and Morgana recall like several times. Did one of them recall at a time? There's been a lot of
now
1v2.
No, it's because they died.
It's because they're really good. No.
Okay.
Alright. So what? Okay. So Warwick goes Mobo Boots. Is that good or bad? Why?
I say it's good
Okay. Why?
because you can go around the map faster.
Okay.
Would you say it's good just to match the Jarvan so you can apply equal map pressure?
That's one good reason. Yes. What's another?
Mine was good enough.
when he has red buff, he can still somewhat gank and chase without. Like he can initiate and gank without ult with it.
Well, okay. But the main thing that I'm looking for is that his laners have exceptionally more powerful 2v1s than Jarvan and his laners. Okay? And then also going for the Mobo Boots allows him to, yes, keep up with Jarvan, but then on top of that, he has 2 carries already, and he doesn't need to be a tank carry. Do you know what I mean? Because he has a Ryze and a Talon in the game. Caitlyn's actually not a carry. This is a very big common misconception with Caitlyn, and she's not like an actual carry AD carry, she's utility AD carry. She can be turned into, 80 carry, like carry, with like full-on damage and full-on, everything, and then depending on how she plays, but her play style is basically what alters, and her itemization and how she comes to it is like what changes with Caitlyn that's different from other AD carries. And what I mean by that is that like technically you could put, I don't know, Urgot, you know what I mean, in bot lane, and you could have him build the same way as other AD carries. It doesn't make it correct or anything, you know what I mean? And Caitlyn, in the sense, when Caitlyn's playing with, if you have like 2 assassins on your team, or you have like a very big pick comp or something like that, your ultimate and its usage changes drastically. You know what I mean? Like, your entire play style of Caitlyn has to be altered, and then also how you play, how you trap, how you maneuver inside of your fight, it's all going to change. So that's one of the complexities of Caitlyn. And another AD carry that shares similar issues like this is Ezreal, except Ezreal to a much more complex nature, because Ezreal you actually have to have mechanics. And not that Caitlyn doesn't have mechanics, but Ezreal is actually mechanically demanding. And you also kind of have to use your brain on Ezreal, whereas you don't with Caitlyn. Not to the same extent, anyway. But anyways, so like Talon, like right here, okay, he got caught by the snare, and when he gets caught by the snare right here, right, with Lux, she has the CDR going, right? She has Chalice. Now, if she had Fiendish Codex, this is even better. Because she doesn't have Fiendish Codex, it's not the absolute best choice in the world, but it's not the worst either. Is basically the lane's pushing and Talon's zoned out by the thing behind him, right? And Talon should know that if he gets hit by anything here, he doesn't have blue buff, he doesn't have red buff, he doesn't have his jungler around or anything like that, right? And Lux has blue buff. Lux may even be running 10% CDR level 1. Like, he doesn't know. So with that being said, right, he should know that if he gets caught by a binding, he's probably going to eat an ultimate. So with that being said, he should have just jumped to a minion, you know what I mean? Like, used his little jump thing, you know what I mean, to just not get caught, because he can't get caught like that. Now, the other thing that's important to know about this composition is that it has both scaling and counter-scaling when you factor in, like, Akali and Lux, depending on how they want to play it. But, like, given, like, you're looking at this right now and you see that everyone's, like, the blue side's 3k behind. That's actually completely fine. It shouldn't be like that, because, like, actually, like, top lane should be a fucking massacre if, like, Ryze wasn't absolutely atrocious. But sometimes it happens, okay? Like, everyone can have bad games. Lux flashes away because she just didn't want to get met with, like, anything. Talon could have played this a little bit better. It's not the end of the world, but he could have. You know what I mean? Like, if he knew he couldn't get the silence off on her, he could have jumped to a minion and raked her to slow her down for Warwick. I mean, even though they still wouldn't have gotten a kill or anything, it just would have been a little bit better. So there's always those little dynamics that have to be taken into account. So Caitlyn nets away from Lucian, and so this fight's going down, right? Warwick's like on his way, and so this is bad right here, okay? Look at Warwick. He's like running to bot lane, right? Is there any fucking way he can actually get there? No. Bill Gates doesn't have enough money to get this guy a fucking special weight hair. Like, there's no way for him to get here, right? And Drake, right, Drake's not coming up anytime soon. It doesn't make any sense. So why keep going? Now look at him. He's like jerking off between the two brushes. Like, he's like... it's like
The way you said everything is great.
He's like, fucking, he's running between shit, and it doesn't make any sense. He just wasted a camp. He legitimately just wasted a camp. He just cost himself like 100 gold. That's actually how you have to view that. That is a terrible play. When you're making movements like that, like running around and you're like jerking off in the middle of the woods hoping that your parents don't catch you or something, like, this is basically what happens. And now he like goes and takes off his rage at like fucking white, or Wraith, not even white yet. It's on his way to white. But anyway, so Talon drops this ward. Now, what is the issue with dropping this ward? Well, the issue is that they had seen Jarvan. Okay, so this ward is what I call a time inefficient ward, because seconds of that ward, right? They're never going to be fucking used because you don't need to have vision over there. There's absolutely no reason to have vision. Nothing can come. Alistar's in vision. Lucian's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, Lux is in vision, technically. Jarvan was in vision. Akali was in vision. Nothing. Like, just because you can see it, like, this is a luxury. You know what I mean? These are like those fucking 16-year-old girls that wake up every morning driving their parents' car and go to fucking Starbucks to get a $10 coffee in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, it's like luxury. It doesn't... It may make you feel better, but it doesn't change anything. Like... And so now, like, Talon just, like, embraces his death.
Genius.
Oh, you know, he can make it out unless he decide. Oh, okay. Just pop it. What are you? She's gonna fucking hate herself.
Oh,
That's
go back
actually
in, go
so...
back in. Oh god!
That's...
Oh, she pushed. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow.
actually so smart.
Oh wait, does she have ulti?
Yes.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she could have tried to kill him. I mean, that was really, really smart though, moving into where like she might least expect. But in the same sense, she should just pop it. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to be used as a zoning material at that point.
Yeah.
Because by the time he breaks stealth, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way. So had she just popped it, she would have killed him.
Yeah.
So top tower is going to go down, and when top tower is going to go down like this, right? If there isn't 2 waves already waiting for you, it doesn't actually make sense to go to top. Just let the wave push into you, let it accumulate 2.5 waves, and go and do something elsewhere. Whether it's take wolves and pressure mid, or whether it's, you know, you walk down to bottom as Rise and try to get a kill here, and then you can maybe, like, teleport back, you know, depending on how big the wave gets or something like that. And your jungler can rotate in consideration to the timing. We see the blue buff's going to be coming up, right? So Talon could just easily come and get blue. Warwick could do the relief, and Warwick can come top lane and push back top lane, right? While Rise tries to roam bottom and get a kill or something. And then also you should be, like, thinking how to set up for, like, Drake. You always want to be thinking about Drake, like, 2 minutes in the future. Okay, and if you play Shaco, and you play Shaco a lot, you'll think about Drake like 4 minutes into the future, okay? Because your teammates, like, need you. And, yeah. So, anyways, okay, so speed up.
Why hasn't the Caitlyn used her traps?
Don't ask questions like that. Don't don't talk logic. Like,
That's just sad.
I know. And I've talked about the Caitlyn stuff and a lot of Caitlyn videos that I have on YouTube, and they're basically terrain altering, right? So if you guys haven't seen that, basically the way to view the traps is they're terrain altering.
Yeah, like she's on blue side, so shouldn't she put them under tower if she's pushing?
Yeah, of course.
Hey Nick, is there any reason why she would have bought Brutalizer so fast?
She doesn't know what she's doing. Honestly, no, never get that. That's terrible. I don't understand.
Yeah.
That's actually terrible.
Play AD, and I was like,
Yeah, like not much reason to get armor penetration when you have no damage to penetrate with.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, no, not only that.
And
it's-
they
she
don't
doesn't
have very much
benefit-
armor yet.
They don't have very much armor, but she doesn't benefit from CDR. Like, you know what I mean? And even if you try to rush Yumu's or something, like, it doesn't even make sense because she doesn't benefit from Yumu's. Like, Yuma's, however you want to call it. I don't even know. Alright, so 2 to 8, but it's not the end of the world.
Could be.
Okay, but Caitlyn doesn't know how to CS under tap. Oh, she's making the... Anyone want to make a highlight video? Like,
How not to play Caitlyn.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, God.
oh man, okay. Alright. Who's gonna bet that blue side's gonna come back and win? With this decision making. Actually, Talon's pretty.
Oh, there's the traps.
Hey,
Now,
Jeff.
let me yeah, there's 2 traps in a row. This is
well, now she
Thanks.
has the cooldown. She has cooldown reduction now.
yeah, now she's like, oh, I can play.
Now they're coming in a bunch.
Okay, so what's something that so if you are purple side, okay, so let's just go back like 1 minute or something. Okay, what are you gonna do? Like, just from this, not rotational play, has nothing to do with rotational play. This just has to do with the information that is presented to you globally. Okay, what are you gonna do? Why is the replay moving so fast? Okay.
I don't know.
All right,
Prepare
you guys
for
tell me what
traffic.
you're gonna do. Be like a minute.
I'd group up for dragons because Rise is tough.
Yeah, and Akali can't beat up without getting gamed by warriors, so she has to move down. So I'd probably have like Jarvan after taking red, come bottom side, and then shove their wave and get deep wards in and ward around dragon.
I'm looking for something. All right, that's macro and rotational. I'm not asking for macro and
Right.
rotational right now. What's a bigger picture?
Well, I would put wards around the dragon area.
Okay, what else? If you hit tab right now, what would you do as a
Make sure you have item slot in dragon fight.
God
Or
damn it! Give me something more. Okay, if you're Lucian, okay, if you're Lucian or Lux, okay,
Okay.
what are you gonna do?
Ult.
Shit.
That's a panic.
Fuck. You're gonna hit tab. You're gonna see Lux has 33 CS over Talon. You're gonna see that Akali has 2-1 CS over Ryze. Okay? You're also gonna see that you're up a tower and Ryze is having trouble reshoving, despite Akali not even being in the lane. Okay? You're gonna overward and you're gonna get defensive items. Because you don't need to go for kills. You know what I mean? If you go toe for toe, so like, all right, so if we're playing chess, okay, and you've captured 2 pawns, okay, this is just like a generalized like thing, okay. If you don't know chess, I apologize, but like everyone should know chess. Like, does everyone know chess before I make this?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you capture 2 pawns, okay, and then you just trade piece for piece for the rest of the game, okay,
Yeah.
you win. You know, if you get a 2-pawn lead, that's basically like a nail in the coffin, right? In most circumstances, right? Obviously not in all circumstances, like when you factor in like blitz and like other types of shit. But for the generalized, the generalized analogy that I'm trying to make is that right now the only way for them to come back, right, is botched fights from you, right? So you take away chance for a botched fight to occur. You overwart. Okay, because you reach into your pockets, all right, and you pull out your fucking coupons because you have excess gold over the enemy team by several thousand, and you spend $75 on a ward, okay, as like all of them, and maybe you can share the wealth because you have a few kills because your name's Akali, and you can buy 3 wards instead of 1 or something, okay, and you just ward up everything, and you buy defensive items because you don't need to go offensive, all right, so you get some sort of defensive item of some like form, and you see how Talon just chunked Lux. Okay, If she keeps building Athenes, she gives Chance opportunity for Talon to make an outplay in lane and Gimper, right? And all of a sudden, she dies. He eats 14 CS. Okay, that CS lead that she just had isn't looking so hot, and then he catches up in XP. He gains, map control, etc. But if Lux doesn't elect to just go into Athenes blindly, right? Like, yeah, she can pick up the Fiendish Codex. Okay, sure. But if she goes back and she gets, Seeker's Arm Guard or something, right? And then she gets, like, tier 2 boots for superior mobility. You know what I mean? And she gets a few wards or something, right? It's going to be a lot harder, even if she makes a mistake, for Talon to capitalize. You know what I mean? She's just, it's like a suffocation tactic. So when you tab and you notice that, like, hey, see, this is why, if you watch me stream sometimes, like, I vent frustration, like, when, if like, I'll actually do this. If I'm, if I'm in top lane, right, and my lane's, like, going even, or maybe I'm down, like, 10 CS or something like that, or, like, maybe I'm up 10 CS, okay? But I feel like I could get kills if I, like, really made effort, you know what I mean, to, like, maybe get an outplay or something. But I noticed that my mid Syndra is 4-0 with a 40 CS lead. I'm not going for kills. I'm going to just try to stalemate my lane. Do you know what I mean? I'm just going to basically be like, hey, you know what, you can get, like, a 10-15 CS advantage. That's wonderful. Okay, because like you know that you have a ticking time bomb that is your Syndra in the mid lane, right? In this sense, I know that Syndra is a ticking time bomb for the enemy team, and if they don't do something to her, okay, and the only way for them to do something with her is to fight fire with fire, because that's how League of Legends works, is to fight fire with fire. So if they don't have a fire to combat my fire, do you know what I mean? Like nothing can happen.
They
just get shit on, right? It becomes protect the Syndra. But so many times, you have those assholes that, like, you went 5-0 in lane, and then he decided that, you're totally carrying him, so he can, he can play with one hand and jerk off with the other, and he can single-handedly, fucking feed everyone and their cousin in all of, Africa. And what ends up happening is that, yeah, you did 6-0, but so did their top laner. And it's not as easy as a game as it should have been. You know what I mean? Because your top laner is insistent it's your jungler's fault. And, if the jungler just had a brain, it would have been 6-0 top as well. Like, doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah. So, these are, like, little concepts that can be applied, like, from this game. And, we're kind of, like, Lux doesn't do it, like, Jarvan doesn't do it, you know what I mean? Like, none of them are actually doing it, but it would actually be a more beneficial play. So anyways, here they come to get Drake, and they're already at the 3 sweeper level. And as you can see here, like, blue side's so far behind, they're all just keeping their ward trinkets. Morgana doesn't even have a sweeper yet. Okay, they got Drake.
Why didn't Morgana like get a side stone?
Why didn't she?
Yeah.
Because
like, she's building a Fiends.
Morgana's typically a babysit support, but when she goes up against another babysit support, she can turn into like a passive-aggressive support. And so she was just taking full advantage of the fact that she could be passive-aggressive with denial to his CC.
Alright.
See? Oh, look, no armor.
Oh.
Now, to be completely honest, okay, if she doesn't, okay, because Athene's made no fucking difference there, but, okay, and I'm, like, not even, like, being sarcastic, okay, like, if she does have Seeker's Arm Guard right here, okay, or she maybe even has Ninja Tabi, like, if she just goes into full, like, because she technically has, she has 2 other carries elsewhere, you know,
No.
if she would get the snare off, she would live, and then Akali would get there. Technically. Right? But she doesn't build defensive. So, like, chance met opportunity, and it happened. And now, oh my god, will Akali die too?
No. Well,
no.
Yeah,
oh. Wrap up a rise. Oh, with the pink ward. Okay, so chance met opportunity. Alright, and now look. Now, Warwick Warwick might go and get blue, or nope, he's going to turn around, and he's going to shove mid, and what happens now? Jarvan has to come mid. And when Jarvan has to come mid, it lets top reshove. And then it gives free reign over to bot. You know, and this is all because Lux wants to be greedy. You know what I mean? And totally, her dying right there is because Jarvan's a bad player and Akali doesn't call Mia, even though it has nothing to do with Ryze. You know what I mean? But Ryze came in 30 seconds later, and Ryze is from top lane, so it has to be Akali's fault because, you know, clearly lane phase is still going on. So yeah. Anyways, let's speed up. Also, a generalized rule is when you get, I'm sure maybe you guys have heard me say this numerous times, when you kill bot tower, you are to immediately rotate middle in 99, or not 99, let's say 95% of scenarios presented. And the reasoning for that is because then if the enemy bot lane elects to continue pushing at your bot tower, okay, then they are in this like game where they're constantly playing catch up.
I was just gonna ask you this actually. What if they've got really good wave clear through their mid?
I was just about to ask that. Yes, I was just about to say that. Now, like, what happens if the enemy mid laner is Ziggs or something like that?
Or Zerath, yeah.
Right. You can do nitty gritty things where you just send the support mid. Okay, so the mid becomes a 2v1, and then the AD carry just kind of stalls out bottom tower as long as he can, and then create opportunity for the jungler and the support for 3v2s. Like once it eventually gets pushed in. But that's a really good question. I was gonna get to that, and I was gonna bring up Ziggs as my the person of the topic. Now look! Oh look! Chances meeting opportunity. Oh, great! Oh yeah, that pure damage. That's really coming in handy. Oh, good. Good. I'm glad. Solo queue 101.
Why didn't Lux help?
No, because
she's just like, oh, I'll just farm. It's cool.
Oh God. So, any other questions?
To what extent when you're leaving bot, like as an ADC and you're pushing mid, is it okay to let them take your tower though as well, even if you haven't really managed to push mid tower down? Like to what extent do you want to stay in mid? If
you put a lot of pressure on mid tower and you're denying the mid laner CS, you know what I mean? Like you have to factor in like what are you hitting? Do you know what I mean? Are you not taking any CS away from the mid laner, or are you only getting like 400 damage on that tower, and they take a tower and then they get like 18 CS? Do you know what I mean? Because then that's not good. What is... Mother of God. Wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. Wait. How did... No, wait, how did Akali see him? How did Akali see him?
Upgraded her...
upgrade sweeper.
What a fucking dirty... Oh my God, she's dirty! Holy shit. Like, usually that's something that you do against Akali's when you're Ryze, just to, like, further put salt in the wound. Do you know what I mean? Like, you become, like, fucking Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like, where he cuts off the leg and he, like, puts salt inside the open wound, like... But...
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Alistar comes down here, he clears out the ward, and then if you're Alistar, you should stay in the bush with Jarvan. Now, Jarvan, like, he's like,
wait, where's he going?
Yeah, right. He's like, oh,
no, see me.
Yeah, it's like a drug dealer, and he's like walking in front of a cop, and he's like, oh,
He's like, nope.
He didn't see me. Fucking, they had like an eye staring contest. Like, now here comes Kate's brilliance. She drops the trap.
Traffic success. Oh, wrecked.
Kali's here, so this is gonna be right. This is gonna be a 4-on-2. So Jarvan coming to proxy the wave. This is actually really smart, but he's a little bit late on it. So he would have wanted to have proxied this wave that Lucian's currently dealing with. But
so they got the instant shot.
Right. And now Caitlyn's actually doing something completely correct. So she's basically saying like "fuck you," and basically, okay. So here's something that like I don't remember who told me it as a kid. Okay, this is just an analogy. If you're like getting beat up in like junior high school or something, right, by like 3 bullies or something, right? What do? Technically, like if you were forced to defend yourself, right? Because there's fight, flight, or just embracing like what's happening. not like embracing it, like, you know, whatever, but there's obviously three options, right? There's fight or flight, and then there's just breaking down, right? So if you are forced into fight or flight situation, right, and you're up against three bullies or something, right, and they're punching you, they're like making fun of you, whatever. What do? You don't try to fight all three. If you can't actually reasonably win against all three, you know what I mean? Obviously, if you're 7 feet tall and you're 300 pounds and they're all like fucking dwarves, then like you can obviously kick their ass. But if that's not the case, okay, all that you have to do is beat one up. You just have to focus on one. Whether it's like you try to like do everything you can to make that one person afraid. Do you know what I mean? Because if you can instill fear into one of them, then, you know, suddenly as a group they're like, well, why aren't you going in? Or like, why aren't you doing that? You know what I mean? Or like, why? And the next time they want to, you know, beat you up or do something, the one person remembers that like you only focused him. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that. Yeah. So he's going to have this innate fear subconsciously. So in that sense, like Jarvan, Lucian, Alistar, etc., they're not all on TeamSpeak right now, right? This is fucking solo queue. So Caitlyn just focuses Jarvan, and now Jarvan's suddenly a bitch, and everyone's like pinging, and Jarvan's like, no, I don't want to do it, guys. Like, Jarvan's like, he hit me. Like, you know, so... That's all you have to do. In a situation like that ever occurs, right, where you're back against the wall and it's like fight or flight, you just hyper-focus one person and you try to put as much damage on that one person that you can before the fight breaks out to create, like, hysteria, basically. You know what I mean? No, that's not the right word, is it? Is it? No, wait. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. All right, we're good.
Yeah.
Alright, so... Fuck.
Also, Jarvan didn't get his ult off because he couldn't tank with the missing health.
Right, well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of variables, but it's not specific to Jarvan. You know what I mean? That could be a fly, that could be a Yi. Couldn't be a fucking Maokai, because he would just go in anyway, because, you know, like...
He's invulnerable.
I think Akali and Lucian tanked the turret.
No, I know. Like, I know what happened, but I'm trying. You know what I mean? On a global perspective, like for your own educational purposes. Now Talon shoving the lane.
This is like Caitlyn targeted Jarvan. Is there normally in a situation like that? Is normally one target to go for, or just go for anyone?
Go for whoever you know will be causing like the most. You go for whoever will be absorbing or demanding your attention the most in terms of like being on top of you, as long as it doesn't compromise your damage. Like, yeah, don't shoot a fucking Caitlyn ulti into a 300 armor Malphite. You know what I mean? Like, that's terrible. But, like, we saw that she did reasonable damage against Jarvan, you know what I mean? And you can calculate that just by tabbing. And if
she has no armor on him.
Right. And if you can't calculate that by tabbing, like, you're probably in bronze, so, you know. You, like, see the blue item and you, like, have to mouse over, you're like, does that give armor? I don't know.
That's right, though, he has Momo boots.
See? Akali managed to get 11 CS in the time that Rise got 51. Everyone congratulate her. Really good.
Round of applause.
And this is because of the low EQ. Like, they just keep trying to fight like apes. And, you know, like, they have no logic or reasoning. They have no thought process. They're just, like, continuously fighting and, like, trying to make their items speak for themselves. But that's not going to cut it when you get higher and higher up in LOs. You know what I mean? And that's what I was talking about earlier about Talon going Hex Drinker. Is because the Hex Drinker, it can kind of take away from a person's ability to let an item speak for itself. Okay. Now Lux and Akali with the solo queue. Solo Q 101. He's my kill. No, he's my kill. Like, doesn't make any sense.
Oh shit. Is Lux gonna get wrecked?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, good thing it's your kill, Lux.
Wow.
But Akali's farming.
See? It's happening.
Oh,
my
My
goodness.
god, dangerous game. Oh, okay. Alright, he still died.
Oh no!
No, Talon. And Morgana with the fucking solo Q, it's my kill thing. Here we go. Doesn't make any sense. So
Why is she up
this is exactly, why is she up there? She could be down at bottom, reshoving back against Lucian. She could be in middle, shoving mid with Caitlyn. You know what I mean? There's so many more things that she could have been doing there. But instead she elects to, you know what I mean? So this comes down to being able to calculate how a fight will go before you can arrive.
But Nick, she went from Diamond 4 to Diamond 3. It must have been right.
I'm so fucking done with your logic. Like,
Oh, they're doing bar now.
oh my god.
Maybe
The
they were checking
other thing that's important is do not correlate. You know what I mean? If you're climbing and stuff, like, and you're in a game and you're Platinum 1 and there's someone that's Platinum 4 in the game, it doesn't actually mean anything. Do you know what I mean? Because you could have achieved Platinum 1 because you played one champion for 200 games. That person could be Platinum 4 because he trolls the shit out of his champions, and his champion pool is fucking Poppy, Teemo, Swain, Singed, and Victor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's actually more impressive to me to be Platinum 4 playing those fucking 5 abysmal champions, okay, than it is to be Platinum 1 playing normal champions. In terms of, like, straight-on impressiveness. Like, so it doesn't actually mean anything when you correlate, like, skill. Like, if you look at the champions and, like, how they're playing them and, like, it doesn't actually mean anything. And I'm just talking about your Morgana comment. Like,
I know that. I was thinking.
no, I know. I'm just- it's important because you see actually so many times sometimes in lobby select, like, people will be like, oh, no, you're Platinum 2, don't talk to me, man. And they're, like, Diamond 5 or something. And it's like, you know, like, it doesn't, or they're, like, Platinum 1, like...
Yeah.
There's actually almost no difference, like... So let's speed up. Sorry. Now, the other thing is Akali rushed tier 2 boots really fast, right? And with the way that their comp works, okay, does she need mobility inside of a fight?
Not necessarily.
She doesn't need any. Right, she doesn't need any. Ryze is going to pin her down. Warwick's going to tell her that he's into bestiality.
Oh my
And...
god.
What?
Jesus Christ.
Well, is Warwick into bestiality if he's the beast?
I have no idea, man.
Wouldn't he be into humanity then?
I see what you're getting at.
Humanity?
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, like, in, like, Morgana, like, puts on Rihanna S&M and, like, I don't know, so, like, all that's going on. But Akali doesn't actually need mobility. She's not going to be split pushing against this comp, okay? She's not going to be, she doesn't need mobility inside of the team fights because they're all lock-on targets. Talon has gap closer, Warwick has a freeze, Ryze has a freeze, Morgana has a freeze. Like, she's not going anywhere. She doesn't need that mobility. So it would have been way better to complete either a second build-up item or to just complete her second core item of Zhonya's. And now we can see that, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, purple's up 4 towers, right? But they're only ahead, like, 2k gold, and they're about to lose this dragon. And when those towers fall, blue is infinitely far ahead. So even though in this freeze frame of a moment, purple is ahead, they're not. Because you have to factor in what do the champions need in terms of itemizations. Like, one thing that I like to talk about is I like to call Jax sometimes like the 5 grand champ. And what I mean by 5 grand is Jax only needs like 5,000 gold on him, and he's like stronger than most champs with 9 grand. Do you know what I mean? Like, like he can take on Jax with 2 core items can take on 3.5, 4 core item champions, and he can win. And in the same sense, like, you have to always factor in your team composition and also your, you know, your champions' items and their scaling in consideration to how the game's going. Just because a game looks lost, like you're down like 5 towers or 2 drakes or something like that, but you're relatively even in CS, it doesn't actually necessarily mean that you're behind. You know, and like keeping that emotional balance inside of a game, and then also like learning how to calculate that, and also in the same sense, learning how to further snowball your lead when you're against a comp like that is really important. So these are all like just things to think about, and like you don't even have to be thinking about the stuff when you're playing. You know, because a lot of League of Legends, this isn't StarCraft, this isn't fucking Warcraft, this isn't, whatever. A lot of this is knowledge. You know what I mean? It's not all mechanical based. Right? So this is all stuff that you can think about outside of League of Legends. Like, this isn't stuff that you have to work on mechanically to practice or, build into your muscle memory. This is all just like theory craft that is actually factual. So it's like, yeah. Then anyways, purple throw down pink ward here, and this is just because of Talon. If Talon elects to die, but it doesn't make any fucking sense because, what's a tower for, right? Like, like it doesn't. Lucian doing the calling is smart though, so that's good. But then he steps on a trap because not smart. And if Morgana was actually better, Lucian might have just died. Like, well, if the entire team was more coordinated, right? And we see the miscoordination, just like. Watch these 5 players moving, right? Doesn't, like, you can just see their mouse. You know what I mean? Like, one thing that I always talk about inside of the laning phase is look at a champion's face, because that tells you where their mouse cursor is. Don't just look at the direction that they're moving. Look at their face, because that tells you where their cursor last was. Like, yeah, Warwick's moving right now, right? Like, but... And then he's moving top left, so like his cursor had to be over here, and now he's moving over here, but we saw that like he had a slight angle on it, so it has to be like where my mouse is, like, you know what I mean? And that's important for prediction. Okay, so Talon being a little bit greedy with the Avarice Blade, but I guess he's just gonna rush Yumu's or Yumal's, whatever.
Caitlyn actually ended up going first on Yumu's.
Yeah.
She's really good. If you want lessons, I can hook you up. Like, didn't you know CLG was in Korea? Hello. Like, they have to be using Smurfs, right? Like, no, I'm kidding. Obviously, Double Lift would never be that bad. Caitlyn with the plays rise with the flash at 80% HP because he was really in danger. Like. What is going on? So this is all this miscoordination that I'm talking about, right? And if you've watched me stream or you've watched like other coaching stuff or whatever, you may have heard me talk about how players that are stuck in divisions or stuck in LOs, they're used to losing more than they're used to winning, right? And thus by nature, they're used to being on the defensive more than they are on the offensive. And thus they are more prone to make mistakes on the offensive than they are to actually make on the defensive. And we saw that actually Purple did reasonably okay there on the defensive. But Blue absolutely butchered it. Like, that was terrible. Like, if this was a business, it would be claiming bankruptcy right now. Like, this is terrible. You know, and now they're, like, trying to siege this, but Caitlyn's out of mana, Caitlyn's out of HP, you know, Talon's trying to come around the side, but it's obviously warded. Lucian gives away that it's warded when, you know, they could have just baited Talon, but why do that? Like, so... So Jarvan's gonna heal up, and while this is all going on, right? Like, there's no need. They don't actually need all 5 here because Morgana has a disengage, right? Morgana can just cast her ult while she's running away, and then press a button, and suddenly she's immune to fucking the world. So like, they could just have 4 people here, and they could have Talon pushing top, right? Or they could have Talon pushing bot, or they could just do a 1-3-1. They don't actually need Baron buff for its stats because they're not looking for a fight right now. You know what I mean? There's still so many objectives that can be contested. There's a tier 1 top tower still living. Even if they don't even need minions to actually take top tower, you could just 5 mana as a team at this point, you know. And Akali with that fucking and.
Why did Talon even stay there?
Because he's good. Hello.
Oh my god.
Wow.
What? He's good.
He's fallen on a mistake.
You see this? It's very good to put all your eggs into attacking an Alistar that has ultimate.
I know, right?
Well, Rice dropped the pink ward before Kali dropped her zone, so Kali went somewhere else and dropped the zone. And then they didn't get vision.
Yeah. CS in this game is absolutely great. It's fantastic.
Also, wouldn't Blue have known that like it was a bad idea just to siege that thing? Because Purple's wave clear is way better anyway. Like, they're not gonna be able to siege that really because they've got what Ryze's range, Warwick's melee, Talon's melee.
Right, they have a pick.
Caitlyn's the only one that can really do anything.
They have a pick comp. And Lux acts as a mini Ziggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lucian.
Well, what's the cooldown on like Lux has 20% CDR? What's the cooldown on her ult?
It's
At
30%.
max CDR, it's like 50 seconds, isn't it? So
Yeah. No, it's less than that.
is it?
Yeah. It's like 39 seconds, I believe, at max CDR.
I think both side lanes were pushing against them. So even if they got that turret, there were nowhere else they could go for anything after.
You know what would be great? Is Zillion's W on Kale. That'd be great. Just have intervention up like 4 times in a fight. Like
Well, before they changed it, not like you wouldn't get it up several times in a fight.
I see what you did there. Like,
Wait. Why
Didn't
was
Hotshot
Talon
try to
there?
run Zillion?
this Talon's good. How many times do I have
Dude,
to say this?
he could have saw them when they were clearing this pink. Yeah, they were obviously gonna stay there.
You're getting kicked from this call, no? Like, all right. So now they begin a siege, right? And like, this is a comp that benefits from the sieging, right? And it's different from a poke comp. This isn't a poke comp. This is a siege comp. There's a very big difference. If you don't know the difference, you need to learn the difference. But like, a siege comp is a comp that it doesn't rely on its poke and its periodic, you know what I mean, damage to wither opponents down. It can also fight straight up, but it tries to, you know what I mean, it tries to force it a little bit harder than a poke comp. Lucian trying to show us.
You were right, Talon is good.
See that? You see Talon's. All right.
Oh, okay, no, he's not good.
The camera didn't want you to see that, so. This has to be like the scariest thing in the world. Oh my god. Oh, I thought he was gonna do it. I thought Jarvan was gonna kill him. By the way, like when Warwick's Thanksgiving Vision, I totally feel as though it should give you an assist. That'd be the greatest fucking thing. Like every time like your laner's about to get a kill, you just walk over and give it.
Yeah, see, that's why what Warwick was doing earlier when he was running down to that fight at bot lane. Just thought he was getting assists.
I had a Korean Warwick once flash W just to get an assist on one of my.
Like,
He literally just flashed into the lane, gave me a W, and walked away.
That's so good.
also, like, I'd wager you money that if they made it so it gave assist, you'd see CVHD playing sort of their cold Magi's.
Yeah, just
Always, just for that reason, just walking around with W on.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck.
Poor Talon.
This is why you go Feral Flare Warwick jungle. It's the most retarded shit I've ever seen. God, I look at Talon's dead body and it reminds me of Robin, and it's like, so
Yeah,
this is
it
what
does
Robin felt
a
like.
lot.
So. Oh god. What champion in the game reaches 6 items and they're still worthless? Like that's basically the embodiment of Krillin from Dragon Ball Saga.
And this Galio.
Galio, that's basically Krillin, right? Like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Not fucking worry. Just had to
Because this makes all the logic in the world. You get the tower, and you're facing a team that fully just revived, which means they're going to have items, they're going to have home guard as they're running to you. Your team's missing half the HP, but we decide to stay, because solo queue. Like, Ryze has all the moves.
I know, right?
Oh, Lux. Lux with the plays.
Oh, no,
Doesn't matter though,
fucking...
they've got a Feral Flare Warwick.
She just moved while she was in zone. Yeah? Oh, that calling.
That calling, that was...
And she got the kill.
Hey, that was a flash W.
Well, at least
No,
they
it's,
won that
it's
fight.
like it's okay to criticize them. I mean, everyone's gonna fucking make mistakes. Like even Faker makes mistakes, but just like laugh at them in humor, but try to take the information that you can
Yeah.
from them.
Just quietly fake a carry. and
Right,
everything.
right. Jesus Christ! Oh, is Talon gonna?
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
No, apparently
Wow.
Talon's incapable of killing an Alistair. So-
That exhaust was really late. Like, wait
Yeah,
till
yeah,
Jarvan dies, then
that's-
pop it.
Right, yeah. Whenever I see this build on Talon, I feel like he's the human version of Rengar, like Beauty and the Beast, like...
Mhm.
I don't know. Ah, the lack of defensive items. Oh, well, Serapta. Now, you see here, is Ryze ends up picking up Frozen Heart. But
Nobody uses auto attacks that much.
no one...
Lucian's a
right,
caster and no
like-
one else is AD.
Right. Well, I mean, Lucian uses autos, but Lucian's never going to be near Ryze, like, where... You know what I mean? And Akali, yeah, she uses autos, but, like, hardly. Jarvan, yeah, he uses autos, but, like, his main focus is zoning and denial and stuff. It would just be better to get Frozen, or Iceborne.
But even
Also,
Lucian's like
Lucian-
he's more burst auto,
Right, he's burst auto, right, exactly.
not periodic.
He's not periodic.
If you were teaching purple side before, when they were all healed up and stuff, how would you tell them to defend?
Defend what?
Like before, when they screwed up and then gave them 3 kills and the inhib.
Just don't try to, like, what was the exact timing on that?
I don't actually remember. But like, it was when the Akali went in and then she got snared and hourglassed and they had the whole team fight.
This, right?
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to be over here. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't... Baron's coming up soon, so is Drake. There's no reason to be past the tier 2 tank.
Not that fight. It's the one after that.
After that. Right.
No, the
Right where the
turret down now?
inhib was.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Right.
tower was down.
Okay. How to defend this?
Not yet.
After Tail's done.
Yeah,
I think that's
when they
oh,
go
yeah.
for the inhib and the talent gets the kill.
Yeah, and where their whole team respawns.
It was just when you were making the analogy about them coming back in with home guards and being full health and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you tell purple to play this?
Yeah, right now.
Okay, hold on. I would... well, Akali wouldn't Zonia's until after killing Morgana. That's number one. Jarvan doesn't have ult, and he's going on to Ryze. He should just instantaneously be pulling back into Alistar after autoing Ryze once or twice. So he's taking, like,
Tons of
80% of his HP. Right, 80% of his HP, and it's
Yeah.
completely useless. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, Lux gets the snare off onto Caitlyn, no one could follow up. Now, Jarvan could technically still be alive right now. He could be hugging Alistar, and Ryze would be pushed back at the tier 2, right? So Kate would have just instantaneously went down. Warwick wouldn't get the kill here. Do you know what I mean? Lucian would have more time to get here, and Ryze would actually innately be zoned out. So there was just, like, a lot of mechanical errors on both sides, but this was mostly Jarvan's fault. Like, he was, like...
Were they just rushing it too much?
Yeah, rushing it way too much. Absolutely way too much. Because, again, like, Blue is a team that wants to be dove on, or they want to get on top of you. Not, like...
Yeah. They're like they all
50
ran into
Shades of
Ryze
Grey,
one at a
like-
time.
Turning every day.
But, and now we speed up a little bit, because we're almost at the end. Let's go to live. Okay. And now you just do the execution. Like, you can send your fastest split pusher top lane, right? And you can execute a 104 or 401. If Baron is, like, up for contention or something like that, you would do a 401. So that you can have 4 members get there faster, and then you can do a dance while your last member, tries to get to you or something. But if Baron isn't, like, if you're pushing with Baron, then do a 104.
Who would you send to split?
Talon.
Yeah.
And because they don't have one person on their team that can reasonably deal with him. Maybe a Kali. I mean, it's going to come down to skill, but like...
But then they have a better 4v4, don't they?
Right. Without a Kali, they have nothing if they get collapsed on. Like if Ryze, gets a little bit frisky, he's been in jail for 20 years and he just wants to get his hands on some girls. If that happens and a Kali's not there. A Kali is basically your big butch, your big butch girl. She played football in high school, That's basically what's happening.
Because they'd have no way to really deal with the Caitlyn if Kali wasn't there.
Yeah. Right.
Oh.
And so now this is a very classic game of not knowing how to itemize and then trying to rush it way too fast, and it costs you a loss. And you could recognize this about the team comps. Now Akali, yeah, she's a late game hyper carry, of course, but they have 2 late game hyper carries. Do you know what I mean? Well, Warwick normally is not a hyper carry, but when he's Feral Flare Warwick, he is. Because he just infinitely scales and he puts this ticking time bomb, where he's just gonna melt everyone. So, anyways, the game is probably one more fight. Nothing can really happen here. All that you need to do now at this point is, as 5, push up to this tower, rotate mid, take inhib, rotate back as 5, take tower, and then just suffocate. Nothing. The fights are almost irrelevant because blue's actually too far ahead. Purple would need 2 consecutive aces, and then with one of their aces, they would need 3 members to live, or 3.5 members probably at best, barring an inhibitor's open for them to actually accumulate anything off it. So it's a very unfortunate situation. But
wow, Ryze hyper carry.
Ryze hyper carry with those plays that he made early.
No, not Ryze.
No, Ryze, don't stand there.
Yeah.
GG.
Right.
Oh no.
Yeah. Okay. So that was that. Any final questions or anything?
I'm not gay yet.
Don't be greedy.
You said yet.
No, fuck.
Alright. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much that. And then the file is recorded, so whoever's recording it, I guess, just put it in the Skype after, the MP4 file or whatever.
Okay.
And, yeah. Okay?
Okay.
Alright, guys, I will talk to you all. What's up?
I actually want to